Hey guys, today is December 5th, 2025. So the title of this video, will J.D. Vance be the 48th and Mike Johnson the 49th president? So Mike Johnson is currently the Speaker of the House. Let's say something were to happen to Trump and Vance, then Mike Johnson would become president. And this is an important video because the connections that I have are pretty compelling to dates that I believe this could very well be a possibility. So you should watch this whole video because this could be important, these dates. But anyways, let's get into it. These two images from iPetGoat 2 related to many things, but what I'm going to talk about here is a shooting, Valentine's Day shooting, right? We had the hearts, we had the love backwards, we have the 322 in the woman's hair. It's 223 days after George Bush's birthday is the Valentine's Day shooting, exactly. 223 weeks later, we had the mass school shooting at Robb Elementary School, May 24th, 2024, and this date was 322 days after Bush's birthday, right? He's in the same room. He's skull and bones. Their number's 322. It's in her hair. And, you know, I talked about this. The double Q's next to her hair, that was the amount of injured and died in the Valentine's Day shooting. But anyways, I had another date just to look at for future reference, to study it more, and that was May 25th, 2026. And I found out that's interesting because it's also Memorial Day. But this will be exactly 3,022 days after the Valentine's Day school shooting. So that in itself doesn't mean anything's going to happen, but I looked into it and I found some very, very interesting connections, especially connecting with Trump, because he will be exactly 29200 days. President Donald Trump equals 292. Presidential assassination equals 292 and 83. So 383 is the 76 prime. This has a date numerology of 76. But there's more to this 292 because it will be exactly 29 weeks and 2 days, and they included after Bob Trumpy just died. Right? He died on November 2nd, 2025. And also the most notable death this year was Charlie Kirk. Probably the most famous Kirk, other than Kirk Cameron, is Kirk Douglas, right? And they died exactly 292 weeks apart. You know, Charlie Kirk has a connection with Donald Trump because this death of Charlie Kirk happened 88 days after Trump's birthday, right? He's Mr. 88, right? Trump equals 88. And I just want to throw this other date in here. It's because it's 8888 days after 9/11, and this will be a January 11th, 2026, because this has a 292 connection to the current Pope. He will be exactly 292 Mercury years. A Mercury year is 88 days. And the Pope also connects to Charlie Kirk because they're both born in Chicago, and they're born 457 months apart, and 457 is the 88th prime. So really interesting. We'll see also this date. I don't know what could happen, but Memorial Day, yeah, it will also be exactly 9 sidereal months and 11 days after Charlie Kirk was shot and killed, right? It will also be 11/9/11, double 9/11, after Charlie Kirk was born. Are you kidding me? So, yeah, this is really a date to watch because look at the date that George Floyd died, May 25th. And what did George Floyd share with Charlie Kirk? Their birthdays. So we're looking at this date, which I just showed you connects with Charlie Kirk. But the day he died and he was born, May 25th, 2026. And May 25th is the date that George Floyd died. So a big web of connections. I don't think this is a coincidence. May 25th is also the day of this photo. So this photo is already proved relevant with the Pope's death, because the Pope died, he died on Easter Sunday. I made a video about that, talking about possibly something happening with Trump on Easter Sunday, or Easter Monday, I should say. He died the day after Easter. But I made a video talking about Trump, April 20th, Easter, and April 26th. Well, it happened with the Pope. The Pope died Easter Monday, and April 26th was the day he was buried, or had his funeral, the funeral service, and it was on Melania Trump's birthday. And now we're looking at the anniversary since this photo was taken. May 25th also has a big 88 connection, because it would be exactly 457 weeks to 88th prime after the total solar eclipse over the United States in 2017, August 21st. It's also 97 weeks, 3 days after Trump was shot. Well, 973 is the 808th composite number. 88, Trump equals 88. May 25th is also the 220th day of the year. Donald John Trump equals 220. Also 76. This day has 76 date numerology as well. President Donald John Trump assassination equals 220 in reverse. So earlier this year, Andrea Bocelli sang "Time to Say Goodbye" in the Oval Office for Donald Trump. Well, I just told you the 220 connection with Donald John Trump. President Donald John Trump assassination. "Time to Say Goodbye" was sung 220 days before May 25th, the 220th day of the year. The top songs to be played at funerals. "Time to Say Goodbye." So Memorial Day, as I said, this will be Memorial Day. And it's a day where we fly the flag, just like Trump was born on Flag Day. We're really watching Pearl Harbor Day as well. That's another big day where they fly the flag. July 4th, we even had a big event. It was the Texas floods, another huge day where they fly the flag. So these patriotic days seem like days to watch, or things happening, right? Because even on Trump's birthday, we had the No Kings protest. But President J.D. Vance equals 70. And look how many weeks after the inauguration of J.D. Vance and President Donald Trump. Exactly 70 weeks. Right? So I'm going to get into another date here. But this Memorial Day is a huge day to watch, plus these other two dates. J.D. Vance, Skull and Bones connections. I talked about this before. So he went to Yale, which Skull and Bones is from Yale, right? And he went to Ohio State University. Isn't it interesting that Ohio State was founded on March 22nd? 322. Skull and Bones equals 76. Just like the Georgia Guidestones that were opened on 322 and destroyed on George Bush's 76th birthday on 7/6, right? And look how old J.D. Vance was after July 4th, 1776. He was 76,000 days old. And when you look at the lunar calendar, the Chinese lunar calendar, he was born on July 6, 7/6. He was also born on the anniversary that the signing of the Declaration of Independence took place, right? Place on August 2nd. But President Vance equals 223, another Skull and Bones, right? And his last name was actually Bowman. He changed it to Vance. So now it matches the 223. So the next president would be the 48th president. And 223 is the 48th prime. So the 48th prime number would be a perfect president to match somebody with skull and bones connections, like J.D. Vance, President Vance, 223. Okay, as I said, I'm going to get into another date, and this date is October 22nd, because it will be exactly 2203 weeks after Vance was born. It will be exactly 3,002 months, 20 days, 322 connection from the signing of the Declaration of Independence. Also, J.D. Vance's birthday, August 2nd. So we have a 322 connection there. And we have a 223 connection, backwards 322, after Ivana Trump, Donald Trump's ex-wife, died. And now look at from her birth. She would be exactly 322 Mercury years and 41 days, while skull and bones equals 41. As I said, President Vance equals 223, President J.D. Vance equals 70. This leaves 70 days remaining in the year. Now, to tie it all in, look at this. It will be the birthday, not only the birthday of Christopher Lloyd from Back to the Future, it will be the 88th birthday, right? And Trump is Mr. 88. Trump equals 88 in ordinal. And in the movie Back to the Future, Biff Tannen was said to be modeled after Trump. Even the screenwriter told an online news outlet, the Daily Beast, said that Biff Tannen was modeled after Donald Trump. The first time that Donald Trump was shot, it was by a guy named Thomas Crooks, and his birthday was 9/20/03. Well, that is the 8888th prime. So Trump has a big connection to the number 88. The 88th anniversary of Christopher Lloyd being born. The 88th birthday, I should say. But I have to also look at October 24th, 2 days later. Because October 24th, as I said before, the skull and bones connection is 1, 3, multiple 2s in any order, just like Bin Laden was born 223 2 weeks and 2 days prior to 9/11. The Central Intelligence Agency was founded the 2232 prime number after being founded to 9/11. So that's when I realized it's not just a straight 322. It's 1, 3, multiple 2s, any order. And again, this would fit once again with the signing of the Declaration of Independence. This would fit once again with Ivana Trump, her death. This would fit once again with her birth, because 322 Mercury years, 43 days. Why does 43 connect to 322? Because on the 322nd day of the year, there's 43 days remaining, just like Skull and Bones President George Bush was the 43rd. I showed you before, 2 days prior to that, the Skull and Bones connection, 41. Just like George Bush's dad was the 41st president. So both these days, not only that, Donald John Trump equals 68. This has 68 date numerology. But look at this. This mock killing of Donald Trump from Snoop Dogg's video, Lavender. So this was released on March 12th, 2017. Now this will be exactly 3,513 days. 3,513 days. What is this number? It's the 3,022nd composite number. So this all lines up. It's all lining up. So Trump was shot at 6:11 p.m. He was announced as the winner of the election in 2016. I remember watching it because it happened after midnight on 11/9, and same thing on 11/6. So we have all these 9/11 connections. Trump shot at 6:11. What will this day on October 24th be? 119 weeks after he was shot. It will be 1 year, 11 months, 19 days after the election, right? So once again, this image would fit perfect if something were to happen, let's say around the 22nd, 24th. So the Pope's funeral was 6 days after he died. This day, October 30th, would be 6 days later after October 24th. And what is this date? This is Ivanka Trump's 45th birthday. Donald Trump was the 45th president. So this would once again fit perfectly with this picture. You know, she's wearing all black like a funeral outfit, right? October 30th, Ivanka Trump's 45th birthday. October 30th is Devil's Night. You know, that's at least what they call it in Michigan. I thought they called it Devil's Night all across the U.S., but apparently they don't. They do in New York, where Trump is from. They do in some other states. But anyways, one of the main notable dates, one of the main things that October 30th is known as is Devil's Night. And Trump, known as MAGA, is also the 5th degree in the Church of Satan. Speaking of the Church of Satan, Peter Howard Gilmore is the current head of the Church of Satan. And on October 24th, he will be exactly 3,570 weeks old. That is the 84th triangular number. So Vance has a connection to 84. He was born in 1984. Bob Trumpy wore that number 84. And guess what? Bob Trumpy will be exactly 357 days old. Numerology, you don't have to count the zeros, but you can. What if you added a zero? You also have the 84th triangular number to when Bob Trumpy died. So it matches Bob Trumpy as well. And even Donald Trump's birth. He will be 80 years, 19 weeks. Well, what is 19? That's the 8th prime. So essentially, he'll be 88 in a way. His birth will match 88 years old. It'll be 80 years old in 19 weeks. And how old was Bob Trumpy when he died? He was 80 years old. Now I have to show you one more date. It's a date that Jurassic Liars has been talking about for a long, long time. And that is August 4th, 8-4. Could this relate to Trump? Or could this maybe only relate to Vance? It definitely relates to Vance. We know that Trump has the 84 connection with Bob Trumpy, but that connects also to this date, October 24th. But look at this. I showed you guys the big skull and bones connections with Vance. And August 4th will be exactly 3 years and 22 days after Trump was shot. It will also be 33 months after the presidential election. It will also be exactly 9 months, 11 days after October 24th. So will Trump get taken out, then 9 months and 11 days later, something happening to Vance on 8-4? Let me show you why I think that this could be a possibility. Well, speaking of the election, that also connects to 84 because 11-5, 115 is the 84th composite number. So J.D. Vance, born James Donald Bowman, born in 1984 from Middletown, Ohio. The coordinates of the city lie along 84 and 39. So I don't know if anybody's ever shown this decode, but He was born exactly 8,400 days after Barack Obama, who was born on 8/4. But look at this, guys. J.D. Vance will be 43 years, 3 days old on 8/4/2027. Well, what is this number? 433 is the 84th prime number. So as I said, what if something happened to Trump, and what if something happened to Vance? Let's say something happened to Vance on this day, on August 4th. Mike Johnson would become the president, Speaker of the House. How old will Mike Johnson be on 8/4/2027? He will be 666 months and 6 days old. Anyways, guys, that's all I got for this decode. I was going to make these videos shortly before each of these dates, but I thought I'd put it all out at once, put it out way ahead of time. And yeah, we're going to see what happens on these dates, if what I'm implying happens or not. But really, really compelling connections that I think I found. So I will see you guys in the next video. Take care.